Hey everyone, I'm Cary Smith and I'm sitting here with Cheri Turner.
Hi.
Cheri and I are both with Client First Capital. And Cheri, today we have, I think, just such a fantastic topic. So there are certain life events that when these things happen, they just cause so much change in a person's life. And one of those life events is is a divorce.
Mhm.
And so today we're talking about the financial steps that someone needs to take when they get a divorce.
Mhm.
And so I have a list of 10 items or several items that you and I've shared the list with you. So I'm
Mhm.
going to read the items, and if you would just tell us why that's so important.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
I think we need to start all over. My light fell right in the middle of
Oh,
right
it
in
did? Okay.
talking. I don't know if it was in the screen or not. So
Oh, let's
um,
see. What is we're at 222. Okay.
okay, all right, we'll start all over. I'm not going to say 10 this time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, all right, here we go. Hey everyone, I'm Cary Smith and I'm sitting here with Cheri Turner.
Hi.
And we're both with Client First Capital. And Cheri, today we're talking about a specific life event. There are certain life events that when these things happen, they cause so much change in a person's life, and it kind of triggers the need to just reassess several different things. And
Absolutely.
the life event that we're talking about today is divorce and
Mhm.
the financial steps a person needs to take when they're getting a divorce. So,
Mhm.
Cheri, I shared with you a list of several things that I've come up with, and so I'll just kind of read, the item, and if you would just explain to us why it's so important.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's jump in and get started. So the
Okay.
first one is it's important to understand your divorce settlement.
Right. Yes. So, believe it or not, sometimes at the completion of divorce, people aren't really that clear about what exactly they netted out with. And part of the reason is because sometimes these are massive documents and they're all in legalese and it's very intimidating, but it's really important to just be sure that you understand what are any assets and liabilities that you came away with, understanding what assets are going to continue to be yours, and then ensuring that any liabilities you're picking up the payments and working on getting those taken care of. um, Essentially, having this lays the foundation for every other financial decision that you're going to be making.
Yeah, very good. So also it's important to close any joint accounts you have with your former spouse and open
Right.
up new individual accounts. So if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Any bank, investment, or credit cards as well. You want to ensure that you close all of those down and have accounts that are specifically in your name. That protects you somewhat against any spending on the other person's part, but also allows you to continue to establish and or begin establishing credit on your own behalf. Um, yeah, in some cases when we have older clients who perhaps the husband maintained everything and they don't have a lot of credit in their own name, it's extremely important to get credit established so that you can continue to work on some of your financial goals, such as buying a car or a house or something like that.
So establishing credit, also just making sure no one has access to those accounts that you don't want them to have access to, right?
Right, absolutely.
And I know this one isn't necessarily financial, but I'll just throw it in there and into this category as well. It's also a good idea to update passwords and usernames
Yes.
over various accounts that maybe you both had access to in the past,
Yes.
just to make sure that you've got the right security and setting those boundaries.
Hmm.
Okay, so the next one is updating beneficiaries. Now, I find a lot of people, even when they were married, didn't have their beneficiaries updated anyway. So
True.
if you
True.
did or if you didn't, now's a really good time to go ahead and make sure that those are correct. But if you could, just say why.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So any bank accounts, investment accounts, and even insurance policies, right? You want to ensure that your ex-spouse is no longer listed as beneficiary on any of those, unless of course you intend for them to have those assets. But this is your chance to establish where and when, or where and to whom you want your legacy and your assets to go to. So that way your money goes exactly where you want it in the future, whether it
Okay.
be your children or siblings or other family members, even charitable organizations, but it's about your intention and where you would like to see them go.
Okay, very good. And this one I think is maybe one of the more important ones on the list, but it is meet with an estate attorney. So if you could
Yes.
just talk to the importance of that.
Yes, absolutely. It's really important, just as we mentioned regarding your beneficiaries, you need to update your will, any trust that you may have, powers of attorney, healthcare directives, things like that, to ensure that, again, if your ex-spouse is listed on some of those need to be adjusted and made current to what you want your intentions to be. Think of this as an act of love, both for yourself and for those family members where you want to see those assets go to.
Okay. You know what? I don't think I've heard people talk about meeting with an estate attorney as an act of love, but that's very well said. It's thinking about those people who are going to have to pick up the pieces, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
Absolutely.
very well said. The next one is managing and protecting your credit.
Yes. Very important to go into the credit reports, see where you are, ensure that everything is current, up to date. And then again, this is your time to continue to establish and or build or rebuild if necessary, those type things. You also want to look at things like any direct deposits or things like that that you have going and ensuring that those are reflective and in the place that they need to be in those new accounts.
Yeah. Several years ago, my wife and I started the process of freezing our credit
Mhm.
reports, whenever we didn't expect something. And, there's been a couple of times where we've needed to unfreeze them and we didn't
Mhm.
undo that. We didn't do that in a timely manner. And it
Uh-huh.
caused a little bit of a hassle, but that's
Right.
so much better than those just being open all the time.
Absolutely.
And so a step worth taking.
Yes, most definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
So, also critical is you need to start building your own financial team.
Right. Right. Especially in the area of finance and being newly divorced, all of this can be overwhelming. So it's important to remember you don't have to go through this alone. Having a financial advisor, a CPA, and estate planning attorney, these are people who can guide you along and help you ensure that you're doing things correctly, that you're establishing things, with intention and the way that you want them to be. And so guiding you through this next stage really helps to give you that financial confidence as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to make a comment here as well. Sometimes
Mhm.
people, as they're trying to get their hands around finances, they're concerned about the cost of having a financial planner, someone
Yes.
manage their assets, or a CPA. My experience is those things typically save you a lot more money than they cost you.
Yes.
And one, they save you money from, preventing you from making mistakes you might have otherwise made. But also, especially around financial planning and asset management, you have someone looking out for your financial behalf constantly. And
Mhm.
I think that those two things are worth a lot and typically pay for themselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then, this is important. And in fact, I'm in the process of redoing this for us, even though we're not going through a big financial change, but it's creating a budget
Mhm.
and making sure that you understand what's coming in and what's going out.
Right. Right. Well, especially after divorce, it's very, very likely that both your income and your expenses have changed now, right? So, really being sure that you take full inventory of what your sources of income are, if you're getting any support, child support, income from your own career, and looking at those against any expenses that now you might very likely be carrying on your own. So, putting together a budget that both helps you meet your goals as well as meet your needs. But really, it's about, again, coming with intention and being very intentional. And as you mentioned regarding, having a plan, it's very, very beneficial to have a plan behind you which says, here's what you can safely spend. And then so you can sort of plan around that. Do I need to create additional sources of income to be able to make ends meet? Or, am I able to live within this current income?
Yeah, really good. Okay, the next one is reassess your health insurance coverage. So
Right.
typically, or often, whenever we go through this type of change, since health insurance is so often tied to employment, it can trigger a change here as well.
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you or your children were previously under your ex-spouse, then very, very important to get this done in a timely manner. So there's a lot of resources, whether it be through your own employer, through the Affordable Care Act, or through individual insurance companies, but not something that you want to leave by chance. You want to get in there and get that set up right away.
Yeah. Okay. And then also, you might need to review and maybe make adjustments to your retirement plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically things are changing there. The assets in the plan may have changed as well.
Right.
Sometimes those are split up in a divorce. And so if you could say a little bit about the importance of that.
Yes, absolutely. So as you said, again, it's looking at your assets, but also perhaps your risk tolerance has changed, right? Probably what you have set aside for retirement assets and the projection forward looks a little differently. So it's really reevaluating and reassessing all those components and thinking about your retirement timeline. Perhaps you might need to push back the years in which you were looking at retirement. But again, it's about getting it all down, being very intentional around it so that you can proceed with confidence.
Okay, very good. And then the last one is update your name and other personal information.
Yes, just in case, perhaps after a divorce, a lot of times people change their name, often back to their maiden name. In that event, you want to be sure that you update a driver's license, notify Social Security, and bank accounts, investment accounts, all those types of accounts. You want to ensure that you get them all consistently changed back to either to your old name or to whatever new name you're using.
Okay, very good. So Cheri, that was a long list, and I'm pretty certain the list is even longer, right?
Sure.
And I feel that we got, probably some of the most important ones that a person needs to act on quickly. But anyway, I just thank you for, providing a little bit of clarity behind each one of these items. And then I just want to say, if you're watching this video and you found some value in it, give us a like. It helps other people find these videos as well. Also, if you're going through this type of a life event, or someone who is, please check us out on our website at clientfirstcap.com. There you can sign up for our monthly newsletter. Also, there's a link to this video and other videos like it. Or if you need to speak to someone, you can reach out to us either by scheduling an appointment or just giving us a call. So again, Cheri, I thank you.
Thank you, Cary.
Bye-bye.
Bye.